How do you not burn out?
Well, it helps. You know, for once in my life, I can honestly say I'm in shape. I'm in the best shape I've been in 30 plus years. I work out all the time. I eat better. You know, I take care of myself. For a long, long time, I was grinding. And I was grinding to the degree that it was killing me, to be quite honest with you, because I don't have a job. I have a career. A job is doing what you have to do to sustain or elevate your quality of life. A career is doing what you want to do, and it just so happens to do those things. And so I was very, very passionate about what I was doing. I was passionate about the goals that I had placed in front of me, the path that I was taking, and I was willing to outwork anybody. You know, if people were asleep, I was up. You know, if they were one place, I was another. You'd have beat writers, for example, when I was a beat writer for the Philadelphia Inquirer when Jabari met me. You'd have people and they would all be huddled. And when they were talking to Allen Iverson, I would be talking to the GM. When they were talking to the GM, I'd be talking to Iverson or somebody else. I was always figuring out a way to position myself to stand out. And in the process of doing so, I knew that you had to work tirelessly because, you know, chance favors the prepared mind. And you've got to position yourself to go about striving to get what you're after. And along the way, though, you're grabbing burgers, junk food, candy bars, and doing all of this stuff. And then, you know, you look in the mirror one day and you're like, I'm not a very attractive person. This is not a good look. And then on top of it all, you start feeling, you know, feel great, and you're waking up with headaches and all of that stuff. And then COVID came, and I was one of those people it almost took out of here. You know, we're walking into, 2021, 2022, it's New Year's Eve, and I'm in the emergency room with my lady by my side, and, you know, the doctor looks at me and says, you know, we're gonna try these steroids and this antibiotic, and if it doesn't work, within 3 hours, we're gonna have to call your family. So, you know, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, you know, my girl, she just breaks down, she starts crying because she's like, I gave up. Because I was like, bump it. And the reason why I said that was because I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I'm a very casual drinker, and my sister came down with COVID the same time I did. She was out, and she smokes every day, and she was fine in 3 or 4 days. And me, I'm in the emergency room 3 different times over 3 weeks, and I'm like, what the hell? It got me. And so, you know, I actually thought it was just my time. And then once I ultimately survived through that, Dana White for the UFC found out about how bad off I was and introduced me, you know, to this biologist, Gary Brecker, for 10X Health at the time, that's now the Ultimate Human. And he said, take care of him. He looked at my blood work and he said, every single problem you can have in the human body, you practically have. You're 0.1 point away from being a full-blown diabetic. Your cholesterol level's over 300. You this, you that. I mean, he just reading it off. Right. And, you know, he gave me something like some sodium with some water to get rid of my headaches. Yep. And he said most people that think they hydrated, they think they're not hydrated enough. He said they think it's because of lack of water. It's not that. It's because of a lack of sodium. Mm-hmm. He said that's what's bothering you. Once he got rid of my headaches, because I had woken up with headaches since I was 19. Right. Up in this, now I'm in my 50s. And it got rid of the headaches. So I listened to him. And then I got on this health kick. Once I saw that progress, it became an addiction. And suddenly, 5, 6 days a week, I'm making sure I do something, taking my vitamins, my supplements, exercise, and eating better. And the better I felt, the more lethal I became, because suddenly I wasn't tired the way that I was. Right. And I wasn't just pushing to the point where you feeling exhausted. No, I had energy and then some. Yep. And that's what made me even better. And so it was like a new lease on life because I felt, hey, you can't stop me now because you couldn't stop me before.
When you were at that point where you were like, this could be it.
Yeah.
What were you thinking? What was going through your mind?
It was shock. It was shock because I couldn't believe it. I was like, again, I do not smoke. I don't do drugs. And I'm a very, very casual drinker. I like my Hennessy and Coke. That's 1 or 2 glasses, when I go out to dinner. If I'm not going out to dinner, I'm not drinking. I'm not home grabbing a Hennessy and Coke. And so I'm a very casual drinker at best. My drug is sugar. Like, even in my 50s, you know, listen, I'm on my health kick, and my security backstage blocked me from the potato chips.
I saw that.
Because I saw the potato chips, and I'm like,
true.
you know, I mean, it's that, it's Skittles,
that is
it's,
true.
don't get me started with my cereal, my honeycombs, my sugar pops, my Fruit Loops. I mean, this, if it wasn't for, you know, me prioritizing my health, you need to understand how bad it is for me. I could eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yep.
You see, I can go home, and not that I have that problem, but I could go home and there could be no food in the house. And if you got a bowl, if you got some cereal and milk, I'm good. You know, so that's the sugar addict that I was.
But you don't, and you look good.